Hello, my name is Laura, and I'm a librarian in the Information Technology Department here at the Mercer County Library System. Today I'll be talking to you about a couple of databases we have available for assistance with a career and job search. So if you're looking to change careers or you're not sure which career to get into, or if you're looking for a new job, these two databases that we're going to look at today, Learning Express Library and Ferguson's Career Guidance Center, will be useful for you. Before we get started on those, I wanted to tell you that we do have some offline options available for you. We do have computer classes, we also have resume review, and we have some cover letter courses that we offer in our libraries. So if you're looking for some help with your resume or cover letter, you can always check out our adult programming schedule and see what's available. Most of our librarians are also available if you'd like to make an appointment to come in and have your resume reviewed or to have some help doing a cover letter or doing a job search. You can just stop in and see if somebody's available. If they're not, you can always make sure to get an appointment at a time that's convenient for you. The other thing is we do have some YouTube videos as well on both resumes and cover letters. We also should have some available on interviewing skills, so do look for those as well. Today, like I said, we're going to look at two databases for career and basically at workplace skills. Before we get into that, I'd like to point out that we do have a subject drop-down on our database page, which you can get to by going to www.mcl.org, look under Resources, and then Databases, or you can look under Branches and then Virtual Branch, and there'll be a link for databases there. Once you get there, you will see this page. So on this subject drop-down, you can also look for business, finance, and investing databases. If you are interviewing for a job and you'd like to do some research on the company you're going to be interviewing with, a lot of those databases are excellent resources for finding information about the company, its sales, any kind of information about products they've got, anything that's in the news recently about the company. So don't forget to look there and do some research before you go for an interview or write your cover letter. Now, the two databases we're going to talk about today, I mentioned are Learning Express Library and Ferguson's Career and Guidance Center. We're going to start with Learning Express Library, which is a pretty big suite of different learning or core skill set centers that are geared for everything from elementary school up to college and then beyond college into the career fields. There are also adult basic skills in there as well. So it's going to, when you log on, you're going to see probably 8 or 9 skill centers, and they're labeled things like this adult core center, core skills center you see here. If you don't know the specific skill center you need, you can always scroll down this list. So even though they're listed separately, you can also find them all by looking for Learning Express Library. When you click on that, it will take you to the main table of contents page. And here's where you're going to see, it looks like we've got 8 skill centers plus the resources in Spanish. So there are 9 total skill centers that you can use in this particular database. We did do an overview of this whole suite in another video. So if you're interested in something beyond the career preparation and the job and career accelerator, and you want to learn more information about the rest of these centers, do check that video out as well. Okay, so one thing that's going to happen when you go to this from our database page, you're going to be asked to enter your library card. Your library card number is the 14 digits on the back of your library card. You want to enter all of those in without any spaces. Once you've done that, you'll come to this main page. You'll see a blue bar at the top where it says Home. You notice over here I've got my name here. That's because when you first go in, you'll see a Register or Login button. In order to use this database effectively, you do want to register for a free account. It's not going to ask you for many details. You can put in just a first name, an email address, and a password. The point of doing this is when I hover over my name, you'll see there's a My Center area here. And if I click on that, what you'll see is a list of my progress in the different centers that I might be working in. Excuse me. So as we're working through some of the centers, you'll see that you're offered practice tests for some things. There'll be tutorials. You can download ebooks. There's a computer center where you can do video tutorials on everything from PC basics to email to the full Office suite, Microsoft Office suite. Some shorter text items will be labeled as articles. So if you download any of them, they'll be saved here. Some areas have flashcard sets where you can work through skills and test yourself using a set of flashcards. The three main things that we're going to see in use today are the career dashboard, the school, and the scholarship finder. Mostly the career dashboard. But I'll mention the school finder and the scholarship finder. You may, as part of your job search, be looking at schools because you may be going back to school to get a different degree or certification. So there is a school finder area. You can save searches as well as schools, and you can do comparisons amongst the schools to see how they stack up against each other. The same with scholarships. You can do searches and save those searches, and you can also save individual scholarships to refer to later. In the career dashboard, we have an area for resumes. You can build a resume within the center, or you can upload a resume and have it stored for applying for jobs. Same with cover letters. You can build cover letters or upload. You'll see saved searches and saved jobs are an option. If you go into the job finder or internship finder and you do a search based on specific job titles or maybe a geographic area, and you've gotten a lot of tweaking you've done in the search, it may be in the advanced search, you can save that search and refer back to it later so that you don't have to go in and repeat all the steps. Same with the jobs. If you do find a job that you may have applied for or that you may be thinking of applying for, you can go ahead and save it and it would show up in here. You'll see this area, the occupation matches. There are two sections where you can do a skills matcher or interest matcher questionnaire. And once you've gone through the questions, one of them has 60 and one has 48. I'm not sure which one has which. I can't remember from when I did it the other day, but basically you answer the questions. They're just multiple choice questions, actually not even multiple choice. You rate how you stack up in your own mind, from you agree strongly to you disagree strongly. So basically, once you've completed those 60 questions of either agreeing or disagreeing, you'll be given a list of primary and secondary matches. Basically, these are careers that, depending on what you say your interests are, or your skills are, these primary career lists would be ones that you match the best with. The secondary are ones that are also matches, but not as strongly as your primary ones. So if you wanted to go back and review those, if you've done the career or occupation matches, you can go ahead and do that, review that from this area. Lastly, there's these recommended resources. If you are doing something like a tutorial or you're taking practice tests, you might get recommendations on how to improve your skills, and those recommendations will be here. So I'm going to jump right in, going back to the home page, and take a look at the career preparation area. The career preparation area, you'll see a lot of these things listed as prepare for. So any kind of a job exam, civil service exams, military exams, nursing entry, teaching entry, any of those types of exams, that's what you're going to find in here. So your trade exams are going to be in here. So if you're looking to get into a field and you need to pass a certification exam, or if you have a job and you're looking to get a promotion and you're required to take a specific type of exam, there's also the CDL for commercial driver license exam. So if you have to renew that, or you have to renew a license in one of these job areas, you can go into the career preparation area and take prep tests. So I'm going to click on the prepare for the air traffic controller exam. And you'll see there are two options here. There's practice tests and there's ebooks. So again, we had said in that career center, we had seen in the center under my center, where we had practice tests and ebooks. If you went in here and downloaded the ebook, which is here, and you click this download ebook, you would have it saved on your computer, but if you should happen to lose that file, you can always go back to the My Center and get that. The other thing underneath the traffic controller exam we saw was the practice tests. So if I click on the practice test, you'll see usually there's a bunch of tests that are available. So if you needed to take the dial reading practice test, that's here. When you start a test, basically it's going to give you three options. You can either do it as if it's a simulated test. You'll see them on the right. It'll tell you how many questions there are and how many minutes you have to take the test. If you take the simulation, it's as if you were live in the testing center and taking the test. You just go through and you don't get any feedback until you're all the way at the end and you get a score. If you're taking it as a practice test, you'll get full explanations for what your answers were in the when you're at the end. It will tell you any that you got wrong, why they were wrong. And if you're doing the learner paced test, basically each question you answer, you'll be given a set of explanations after you've answered that question. You'll be told whether it's correct or incorrect and why. So that's basically what happens when you take a test, a sample test. Okay, I'm going to close without saving because I don't want to save that I was doing that test. The other two things that are in the career preparation area is learn more about a career and job search and workplace skills. Under the learn more about a career, these are mostly ebooks and articles that tell you what you need to do to become or to work in a particular area. So for example, if you wanted to know what is required of you to become a nurse, you'll see there's going to be an ebook that's available. There's also sometimes job skills related books in here. So this one is Spanish English terms for nurses. So if you need to follow up on learning better communication because you're a native Spanish speaker and you want to learn the English phrases, that would be available. And you'll see things like that showing up in a lot of these centers where there will be little tip books as well. So basically, the Becoming a Nurse ebook will tell you what kind of schooling you need to have, what kind of skills you need to have in order to be successful as a nurse. It also usually gives you a job outlook and information about the job market as it is now. So you can see things like salary expectations, how you would progress in terms of promotions and whatnot once you're within the career. Okay. The last thing under the career preparation area is the job search and workplace skills. So they do have areas in here. So for example, building your workplace skills, there is an area on business writing. The Succeed on the Job area has a lot of things about how to network with people, how to work with other coworkers, public speaking, that kind of stuff is in there. So once you're within the workplace, there are options available here as well in terms of keeping your skill set sharp. If you're changing careers, there's information here as well. But then I was mentioning earlier where there's information on interviewing topics, and then you'll find ebooks on that kind of stuff. This is where you'll find that. So Interview with Confidence, for example, you have a tutorial as well as an ebook to download. Some of the tutorials, I'll just click on this one to see what it's like. Some of them are okay, this is one of those that's text driven. So you basically start the tutorial and you'll get a mix of some video clips, some flashcards. There might be some quizzes in here. There might be little short articles for you to read. And basically you'll work through it as if it was a workbook. And at the end you may get quizzed on some of the tips that were given, or you might just get a cheat sheet or tip sheet that you can print. So depending on how each of these courses is set up is what you would see when you get to the end and what you're presented with. The other things that were in there, we did see the ebook as well. So job interviews that get you hired. If you wanted to download it and read through it, it will give you tips on interviewing. Okay, so the rest of this stuff, as you can see, salary negotiating, networking skills, creating cover letters and resumes. That's one area where, again, you're going to have a tutorial on how to do a cover letter and a tutorial on how to do a resume. So that's what's in the Career Preparation Center. Now, as for the Job and Career Accelerator, there are expanded tools in here in the Tools to Get You Hired area. The Find a Career Match is where those two, whoops, didn't open it up completely. The Find a Career Match is where you'll find those two, they're called tools, but they're basically questionnaires, the Skill Matcher and the Interest Matcher. So those results I mentioned earlier when we were looking in my center, this is where I found those career tools or questionnaires to go through. Notice also at the top where it says Job and Career Accelerator right above the Find a Career Match. This is now a drop down. So all those other things that we had seen under the Job and Career Accelerator Center, I can go to these without having to keep going back to the main page for the center. So I'm going to work us through those. So this is the Find a Career Match, where we're going to find those two tools, which are the questionnaires, matching interests and skills to certain job titles. There's also an Explore Occupations area, and this is one of those areas that sort of like the one we saw in the basic career preparation area, where you could find a list of occupations and what's required in terms of schooling or how to enter the job, whether there are tests, exams that you have to take, and then what kind of outlook you have on that particular job in terms of expected job openings or salary options, all that kind of stuff will be in this area. There's also a special area for military to civilian. So if you're coming out of the military and you're readjusting to civilian life, there's a matcher here that will be able to take your military skills and tell you what kind of civilian occupations may be available to you. You can also look at the in-demand occupations and the green economy occupations. I'm just going to look at the in-demand occupations tool. Most of these tools work the same way. And basically they're just text-driven menus. So if you see a particular industry group that you're interested in, so if you're interested in education field, for example, you'll see there are certain areas such as animal scientists that you can look to see what kind of information is available and why this is considered a in-demand occupation. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where I said you could get an idea of what kind of salary to expect, gives you the projected growth and the projected job openings. Now notice that you can use the drop down. So if you are interested in moving, or you want to just check out what's going on in our state, since we're in New Jersey, you can see when you do that, it will tell you what the career expectation in the specific state is. This is going to give you the U.S. in general. So, I mean, if you want to move to South Carolina, there's not as much information. But then these other areas, as I was mentioning earlier, the education and training you need, if there are related occupations, the skill sets, gives you the tasks and activities, so you can get an idea of what's involved in the job. So these are the specific tasks or general work activities that you would be doing working as an animal scientist. So you see that. And we had noticed in the My Career area where there were recommended skill improvements. You'll see over here as well, underneath of each job type listing, you'll see what you might need to review to get ahead in this particular job area. Lastly, you do see View Available Jobs, and you'll see there's several pages of job listings. Note that these are pulled from outside sources, so places like Monster.com, Indeed, even some specific company sites it may pull from, and you'll get an idea of how recent the job listing is. So it'll tell you when it was last listed. You can also change your default location. So it usually gives you within a certain mile of of your zip code once you've entered one in. So you can give it an idea of how far you would like to travel. So you see we're getting listings within 25 miles of Lawrence Township because I put in the Lawrence Township zip code. And so that's about it. There looks like there's maybe 6 or 7 jobs currently available. Oops, sorry. Looks like there's actually more. My apologies. You can flip through on the top um, and go through the different pages. So it only lists about 5 jobs at a time. If you wanted to add this job to go back to and look at later, in that My Center that I showed you at the very beginning, and we said there were saved jobs, this is where you would be able to star that and add that. And then just gives you all the information, and then you can create that setting or saved job for yourself to go back to. I mentioned that it does go out to different websites. So here you're seeing this was listed on Indeed.com. I'm not going to go ahead and apply for that job, but if you wanted to, you could click the apply button and do so. Okay, so I'm going to go home, go back into the Job and Career Accelerator. So that was the Explore Occupations. So here is just the pure search for jobs and internships area. So basically, we had gone into that search just by clicking on what the more in-demand jobs would be. But if you want to go straight in and just look for jobs straight out, you can go find your next job or the job search engine. And again, you're just going to see those listings like we just saw in the previous set of screens. One other thing here is if you're looking for an internship, there's a special internship area, and the career launch the career tool will get you started in that as well. So basically these two, the internship and the job search, are very similar, but you're just getting internships in this and not full job listings. Okay, now going to the tools to get you hired area, this is where you can brush up your cover letter, your resume, but there's also got some things that are useful that sometimes don't always get paid attention to when we're focusing on applying for the job. And that is the interview follow-up and the interview thank you sample letters. So they do have these in here as well. Again, you would download them as an ebook and you'll get the PDF version, which you can either print or save on your computer, or you can just go back to the My Center and review that ebook again. And again, you're looking at what you would want to do is after you've interviewed, you want to make sure you send a follow-up letter, or actually you want to make sure you send a thank you letter. But also you could do a follow-up letter if you felt after you've been told you're not continuing interviewing, or that you will, if you want to do a follow-up letter asking, whether or not they had any feedback for your interview, you could do that as well. And there's also networking letters as well. So if you're just cold calling or reaching out to companies or people within the field to try and network, there's information there as well. So the Career Builder tool for building your cover letter will actually allow you to work through building your cover letter, or you can upload one and edit it. So I'm just going to say start building my letter, and you'll see it gives you basic areas where you can type in some information, and it will let you pick what kind of letter you're doing. And if you want to give it a quick idea of what you're looking for, this is just the name you're giving it for your purposes when you go back. So I can create a letter using a sample, and if I click the Start Building My Letter, basically it's going to give you this information here, and you can go in and just use this sample if you like it. And here's where you can, within the tool itself, start using your tools at the top on the top toolbar to, you can go in and highlight and change things. So you want to put your own name, address, whatever in here, and then change the information that you need to in the sample letter. And you can use the toolbar to change bolding, underlining, etc. When you're done, you go ahead and save, and that letter will then be saved in your My Center area over here. And you can then attach it to applications. Same thing goes for I'm going to go ahead and continue because I don't want to save my sample. And the other thing goes for the other tool to get hired, which was the resume builder. So the Build Your Resume works the same way, takes you through a series of wizards and basically allows you to build a resume within this tool, which you can then either save and attach to applications that you're submitting or that you can print out for yourself. Okay, the last few things in here, the Career Library and the School and Scholarship Finder. The Career Library is basically a set of ebooks and articles that help you become either one of these occupations or, again, the Career Changers Manual. So basically all those ebooks we had seen in previous parts of the center are kind of collected here. So the social networking is in here. You'll see most of those, like I said, those how to get involved or get started in a particular career path are in here. The last area is that School and Scholarship Finder. And I'm going to open the School Finder. What you'll see in here is a list whether you want 2 or 4 year schools or graduate schools or programs, and it will work similarly to what we were seeing with the resume and cover letter. You're basically just going to start doing some keyword search, or you can do a quick match based on answering a few quick questions, like which region do you want, which states are you interested in. So you could pick, pick California, Hawaii, and Indiana. Here we go. And then if you want to apply to 4-year colleges, and then what kind of college you're interested in. So if you want to go to a liberal arts school, you can pick those. And then you can just pick what you're interested in studying. And then see My School Matches. And it will give you a list. So the only one that came out with all that I put in there was California State Polytechnic Institute in Pomona. So if you want information on Cal State Polytech, you can click on it and it will give you all the information about that particular school. So there you have it. You can also save this if you want. You can print the information, you can download it, and if you've saved it, it will show up in your schools that you had saved. Okay, so that is basically the 2 career prep areas in the Learning Express library. So we're going to look at Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. Again, that can be found on our databases page, and you'll just look for Ferguson's in the F area, click on it, and you'll be asked for your library card number, and you'll go straight in. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because it's very similar to the one we just looked at. It's just arranged slightly differently, and it's good to use both because you'll find some information here that you don't find in the other one. The job listings come from the same pool or banks of job listings, Indeed, Monster.com, all of those. There are some tools here that are really helpful, though, especially if you're going back to school. So there is information on a planning timeline, work-study program. There's a financial aid area, how to choose a college major. There's also an expanded school area. So we saw the undergraduate and graduate schools in the Career and Job Accelerator. This one also includes nursing schools and VOTEC schools as well. So you'll get an idea here, excuse me, about expanded school search. And then there's this career skills area. In addition to giving you information on how to build a good resume, gives you a lot of little tips articles. So for example, cover letters, common mistakes. So do make sure to go through here and make sure your cover letter and your resume don't fall into any of these pitfalls that you could make when you're doing a cover letter. So they're really, it's more articles and skills in terms of what to look for and what to avoid. So unlike the Career and Guidance Center, the Job and Career Accelerator, which gets you started basically practice tests and building a resume, this is going to give you some tips as well. And so the stuff on the right-hand side, you'll also see some articles from the career experts, and there's usually some hot tips area in here as well. And just like in the previous one, there is a career interest assessment tool, so you can take a look at that. There is also a video section on this one, and again, those professional outlooks, the fastest growing jobs, most in-demand jobs. So pretty much a lot of the stuff that we saw in the other um, database is here as well. It's just that it's good to take a look at both because, like I said, you might get different information even though it looks like it's the same. And they do have, like I said, the planning your education and launch your career. And when you click on the more resources, you get the full list of articles that are available either in the starting your education or job hunting and workplace skills area. So, things to look for in here as well. In the career skills area, they do have more of an expanded section on what to do after you've gotten your job. So the communication skills, time management, problem solving, teamwork building, learning the ropes, all those kinds of stuff are in here as well. So really the Career Guidance Center, you can think of it as well as adding to your how to create cover letters and resumes and find a job. It also gives you a lot more tips on what to do once you're hired, what to do once you're in the job field itself. So I hope by using these two databases and our options within the branches, our resume review and our other YouTube videos as well, and our our computer classes, that we can help you either get a new job or get started uh, in a career. So thank you for tuning in, and we hope this is helpful to you. Good night.